Now the putter is the club that you'll use the most during a round of golf, so it really does pay to have one that works with your stroke tendencies, feels comfortable in your hands and suits your eye. And to help you find your perfect match, we've tested over 15 of the latest ranges here on the beautiful Tavistock short game area at Woburn Golf Club with Titleist Pro Everyone golf balls. And we're going to break this video down into 5 different categories: the looks, the feel, sound, the performance, the forgiveness and the value. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to pick my favourite putter of 2021. So make sure you see it through to its conclusion. Worth mentioning that, you know, putter I think is quite a subjective category. We haven't used a launch monitor for this test. Feel like there's actually not too much difference in terms of performance from the testing I've done from putter to putter in terms of the amount of skid and the roll. The differences are fairly minor, so the test is going to be relatively anecdotal, but hopefully it should give you a really good insight into where certain putters excel, maybe where they fall down, and which ones are the best, in my opinion, in each of those categories. So without further ado, let's start the video, dive into different categories, starting with the looks. Okay, so we talked about putters being a relatively subjective area of the market. I think the look of a putter is even more subjective, which is why what I might like the look of might be different to what you like the look of. So take my opinions with a fairly healthy pinch of salt, but the models that really stand out for me in terms of how they look, you know, I'm looking at how effective are they at highlighting the angle of the face, and am I able to set the putter squarely behind the ball at my intended target? And then also, does it look good in the bag? Does it have that premium appeal that you want from a putter? You want to be proud to own it. Does it offer that? So the ones that really stand out for me, certainly in the mallet section, would be the Scotty Phantom X 11.5. So it's one of the new shapes in the range for this year, and it's more of a squished shape. It's a bit more compact than the other models in the range, but it's got that white sight line, which we haven't seen before in the Phantom X range, sitting on that black section. Really highlights that face angle alignment, and it just looks really cool, really cutting edge, really modern. So I love the look of the Scotty putter. Then moving into the mid mallets, kind of the ones that really stand out for me is the Mizuno M.Craft. I've got the number 4 shape here, which is that wide blade option, and that blue finish I think looks absolutely stunning. It comes in a few different finishes as well, so you can choose your favourite one, but I really love that blue. Stands out from the crowd, as you can see here. There's no other ones that look like it, and definitely I think adds a premium appeal to it. Lastly, in the blades, I think this TaylorMade TP Hydro Blast, the Soto putter, I think just looks really classic down behind the ball. Very simple. There's still enough alignment assistance there from that black sight line, contrasting really well with that light kind of sandstone finish. So that would be the one that stands out from the blades, but they all look relatively similar. So looks, you know, a very subjective category, but those are the putters that suit my eye the best. So the feel of a putter is very much influenced by the sound at impact. Generally, the louder the sound, the firmer the feel of the putter. And there were some models that stood out in terms of offering a firmer feel at impact. Those would be both the TaylorMade models, the Spider EX and the Spider S, the Cobra models, so the 3D printed range and the vintage range, both offering a slightly louder sound at impact. The TaylorMade TP Hydro Blast, especially that Bandon 3, had quite a loud pingy sound at impact, and the Scotty Phantom X 11.5, quite a clicky sound again, even though there's a decent amount of milling on the face there, offered up quite a loud sound. At the other end of the spectrum, in terms of you having a soft feeling putter, maybe you use quite a firm golf ball, so you want to marry that with a soft feeling putter. The Ping 2021 putters, I've got a couple of them here, really stood out in terms of offering a very quiet sound, but still offering really good speed off the face. The Bettinardi Studio Stock, again, a very quiet sounding putter impact. And the others I would say were somewhere in the middle, which for me is where that sweet spot actually is. You don't want it to be too soft or too firm. And my favourite feeling putter, I would say, out of all of these putters would be the Odyssey White Hot OG. Offers decent speed off the face. It feels relatively soft, but there's still a decent amount of sound there, and balls come off the face with really good speed. So that would be my favourite feeling putter of 2021. So now we're moving on to the all-important performance of these putters. Which one did I hold the most amount of putts with? Which ones did I feel most comfortable with on the greens? Testing a variety of different putts here on the practice putting green, short, long, left to right, right to left, straight putts. Which one did I hold the most and feel most comfortable? And there were some standout performers in terms of performance. I definitely, again, talk about the Scotty Phantom X 11.5, hold a surprising amount of mid-range putts with this, and it was very consistent. I really enjoyed this Sick putter. So there's a couple I've got here. This is the Sick Flow model. So it's actually more of a mallet style shape, but you can adjust the shaft, so you can take out the shafts and change it for a different hosel style depending on your stroke type. So I have quite a strong arc to my stroke. I gravitate towards short slant hosels. So even though this is a mallet style design, you can see there's actually quite a lot of toe hang on this putter. And so being able to change into a short slant hosel improved my performance on the greens, and especially with this putter in particular. But I think changing that putter into the blade shape here with the sick range, I think would be an even more effective combination. Other models that really performed well for me was the TaylorMade TP Hydroblast Banded. Sits really flush to the ground, really easy to set squarely behind the ball, and it was very repeatable. I hold a lot of putts from mid-range with that putter. But there was a standout performer in terms of how prolific I was from relatively kind of short to mid-range, and it was the Mizuno M.Craft. So this is a putter that I literally could not miss from kind of my first kind of 10 putts from inside 15 feet. I hold every single one. Yes, it's suited for me in terms of the hosel design, the length of it, the grip feels really nice, it fits my hands perfectly, but for whatever reason, I hold an inordinate amount of putts with this putter. So that one, along with the Evnroll ER2V, both ironically kind of that wide blade shape, which is something that I'm definitely seem to be getting on with best. These two really stood out in terms of the performance. But then if you want something a little bit different, I would definitely recommend trying this Evnroll ER5V Midlock. So Midlock is the new arm lock style putter from Evnroll, and it's definitely the most comfortable I've ever tested because it's got that wide offset design. It kind of eliminates the excess shaft lean that you often have to employ with arm lock putters. Just feels really comfortable, and I hold quite a lot of putts for this from short and mid range. Definitely takes the risks out of the stroke. I was quite consistent with it. I felt like over time I'd grasp the idea of long putts in terms of managing the pace of your putts. Does take a bit of getting used to, but I think if you're looking for something new to try on the greens, you struggle with consistency, an arm lock putter like this Evnroll Midlock one is definitely something to try, and it's very easy to get on with. So, none of these putters perform badly, but those are the ones that really stood out for me. Right, so forgiveness, we're looking at consistency of distance on long putts to reduce the number of 3 putts that you take, but also how consistent are those start lines. If you're mishitting putts from short range, are they holding their line and going in when you don't expect them to go in? There were some standout models in terms of offering that higher level of forgiveness that I was expecting. Naturally, mallet putters tend to be more forgiving, especially I would say the TaylorMade Spider EX found that to be very stable on those off-centre hits. The Spider SR as well, it's quite long from front to back, as you can see, and I don't necessarily like the cavity in the view but at address, but this bar I think really helped stabilise the face on those off-centre hits, and I found that to be very user-friendly. This Evnroll model as well comes with the gravity grip, which I don't actually like. It's kind of narrow at the front and wide kind of from front to back, but in terms of forgiveness, this Evnroll ER11 was right up there. You've got those parabolic grooves on the face which help gear the ball back to centre, and I found to be quite consistent from mid-range with this putter, so very forgiving. But there was a standout winner for forgiveness, and it's the Cobra 3D printed range. So this is the Agera model, or Agera model, depending on how you want to say it, and I can't convey to you enough how stable this putter is. It feels so solid, regardless of where you hit it. You barely feel anything through your hands because it's so stable. And even off centre, I found like really long putts were running out very consistently. It was very easy. Once you kind of work out how you start the ball on line, you're scaring the hole an awful lot from mid and long range because of how consistent it is. So if you really struggle with your strike and you struggle with 3 putting, this Cobra 3D printed range is definitely the way to go because they've packed an awful lot of forgiveness into the head. And even the blade model, so this is the bladed model here, so the smallest model in the 3D printed range. You can see here these tungsten weights right at the back definitely help stabilise that face. So even though it's quite a small head, you get an awful lot of forgiveness from this putter. So for out and out forgiveness, the winner would be the Cobra 3D printed range, and especially that Agera model. Everyone wants a putter that's going to provide decent value for money, and I'll flash up the names of the putters on the screen now so you can see exactly how much the recommended retail prices are. And from that, I think there are some valuable options to be had within this putter test. And the cheapest putter being this Macgregor Mactec X comes in under £60. And While it might not look the best, for me, having it kind of set up quite close, you felt like you had to lean the shaft forward a little bit to get it square. Actually rolled the ball pretty well. It has a relatively firm feel, but there's a decent level of alignment assistance on offer. I actually putted pretty well with this putter, so for under £60, there is some value for money to be had there, no question. But if you want something a little bit more premium, but still offering good value, I'd say the Cleveland Frontline range is definitely one to try. This is one of the new shapes, the number 2. It's obviously an old range, but they've added new models for this year. And while I think the visuals could be improved, I think the performance was pretty solid. It didn't roll out as much as I would hope it to, but I think given the level of variety of the shapes on offer, I feel like the Cleveland Frontline comes in kind of under £200 is an excellent option. But I think the most kind of value for money I think you get from a putter within this test would be the TaylorMade Hydroblast, the TP Hydroblast. So coming in under £200, there's a nice variety of shapes on offer. They feel really, really good, solid, quite loud, but they roll the ball really well with that 45-degree angles on the groove within the insert. So very, very consistent. And personally, it was the Bandon 3 that really stood out. I don't normally use mallets, but it's got that short slant hosel, and I was very, very consistent with this putter from kind of mid and short range, and I really enjoyed using this. Definitely a contender for my bag this year. It's got a really nice stock grip to it, kind of lambkin, it's quite tacky, but it's also quite firm, if that makes sense. So all in all, in terms of how it feels, the makeup of it, how consistent it was, TaylorMade TP Hydroblast, I would say, is the most value you'll get from a putter this year. Right, so on to the overall verdict, and I think the first point I would make before I pick my top 5 would be that I think any of these putters would serve you well, and there's an awful lot of variables to consider when choosing a new putter in terms of the looks, how it flows from your stroke, the length, the style, all that sort of thing. But I'm going to pick my personal favourites in 2021. The first one I want to talk about is this sick flow putter. So this comes in at a really super premium price, £469. It's the most expensive putter on test, and actually doesn't really have premium visuals for that price, but it does feel really, really good off the face. It's very consistent. It's got this descending loft technology, which is much more subtle on this one than Cobra's own version that they've put onto their putters. And this adjustable technology, I think, if you go through the fitting process with Sick Golf, I think you'll definitely be dialed in a lot more than you will with other brands in terms of those different hosel options, the different head shapes, and that face technology working together helped me to be very consistent, and it felt really good. It felt quite soft, but gave me really good speed control. So I really enjoyed using this flow putter from Sick, and it's definitely one of the surprise packages, I would say. Next would be the TaylorMade Hydroblast range, specifically this Bandon 3. I've talked about it already, how much I like the feel of this putter. It's quite loud, but it gives me a consistent roll. The grooves on the face really work to help the ball hug the ground. I noticed that more than other putters in this test, how well the ball was hugging the ground. Bandon 3, TaylorMade Hydroblast, definitely one to try. Mizuno M.Craft, absolutely love this putter. A definite contender for my bag because of how many putts I hold from short and mid-range. I love the finish on it. It's got those adjustable weights as well, so if you want to fine-tune the feel, something a bit heavier or lighter, you can do that with the weight kit that comes separately, and just really like it. And there are some other models in the range to try if you want to, and it comes in at a reasonable price, £250 as well. Runner-up is going to be the Scotty Cameron Phantom X 11.5. It pushed the winner really close. I love that kind of squat mallet shape. It really, really suited my eye. It wasn't too large or cumbersome. Felt really solid off the face, very easy to align, and I quite like the stock grip on it as well. It's got this pistol shape, it's fatter at the end, fitted in my hands really well, and I hold a surprising number of putts with this from mid-range. It was a tough one, but the winner, for me personally, for 2021 best putters, is the Evnroll ER2, well, the V range. The ER2 model here is the one I've got. This is that fat blade shape which we talked about. It's got a really premium finish on it, very easy to align. I love the stock grip on this. So this is the Evnroll Tour Tack grip. So it's obviously got a wide front section at the front, which really helps set your kind of thumbs on top and marries up with the face really well. It's got a very soft, tacky feel to it. I like the 2-dot system. I think that helps me get the lie angle right, and the forgiveness from what is a relatively compact shape was really impressive. You know, these grooves I found to help me get the ball closer to the hole from long range, and also hole putts when perhaps I thought I've misstruck them and they're going to miss low, especially low, I would say. These help me get the ball in the hole when I wasn't expecting it to, and that's what you want from a putter. You want it to be consistent. I put this in play for the first time in the first medal of the year, had 26 putts. I think my Arcos stats showed I gained about 4 shots compared to the handicap that I was playing off, so couldn't really fault the performance of it. It's been prolific ever since. It's in my bag at the moment, and it's going to take a serious dip in form for me to get it out of the bag. So it was a tough one, but the Evnroll ER2V, my #1 putter of 2021, comes in at a premium price, but for me it's worth every penny. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video looking at the best putters of 2021, and if you are thinking about upgrading, hopefully it gave you some food for thought as to which model might be best for you. Do comment on the video, tell me which one you're most excited to try if you haven't tried it already. Do click the like button if you like what you're watching, and subscribe to the Golf Monthly YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our equipment review videos. But that's all from me from the stunning Tavistock short game area here at Woburn Golf Club. I'll see you next time.